All right, hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. This is Rudy. It's February the 14th, 2017. I wanted to share with you guys some books that I've read over the years. Where's the Birth Certificate by Jerome Corsi. When that book came out, SEAL Team 6 was, they supposedly killed Osama bin Laden, and then SEAL Team 6 was killed later on. Memoirs of a Community Organizer from Hawaii, Mickey Booth. She's known as the Birther Princess. I consider her a woman who spoke the truth about the birth certificate from Hawaii. Deconstructing Obama, the life, loves, and letters of America's first postmodern president. Goes through the Obama timeline. Then you have this book, Barack Obama and Larry Sinclair, Cocaine, Lies, Sex, Murder. Okay, and then I put this on a table. I had to write not for sale on it because it was my only copy. But this is the man I want to talk about today. His name is Officer's Oath, Terry Lakin. Very honorable man with integrity, constitution, fortitude, served honorably in our military. And just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did the right thing. But I think it was in the year 2010. I think it was in November. I'm gonna shortly show you guys a video clip where my wife and I were going to a Republican get-together, some sort of highfalutin tea party where, Republicans get together. And my wife and I paid the money. I think it was $200. That was a significant investment of money to get into this place. And we brought flyers with us. And those flyers had information about Terry Lakin. And he was a lieutenant colonel in the Army at the time that had, for over 2 years, tried to go through the prescribed chain of command. In other words, he was filling out the forms, he was raising issues to his commanding officer, he was sending it up through the proper chain of command and departments, filling out all the proper forms. This went on for 2 years where, where he was trying to raise the issues and concerns that he had about Obama not putting forth the proper credentials to be an eligible president and commander-in-chief of the military. Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin was stonewalled for 2 years solid. He then got to the point where he made a YouTube video just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and he stood up against an overwhelming odds, overwhelming opposition, and he stood up and said the truth, that he's going to invite his own court-martial, and he said that he's going to use this court-martial to bring forth evidence that Obama is either eligible or is not eligible. All Terry Lakin wanted was the truth, right? And so we learned about this man in Dallas, Texas, and I paid money to get into this fancy Republican get-together. I'll play a clip for that to you right now.
Eligibility requirements for Obama, and he's on the verge of being court-martialed. The mainstream media won't.
That's the only thing I want you to do. If you're going to have a person up here, just make sure it's okay with them before you give anything out, all right?
I always ask him, sir,
okay.
if, yeah, all right. Okay.
Enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much.
I'm just telling you, I was brief, you got to make sure.
All right. Well, thank you for being a good peace officer and letting me have my freedom of speech.
No problem.
Okay, thank you very much.
What? What was that?
I don't know.
You are a loose cannon.
And I have my camera in the car. I like her values. She's
You can't come in something like this.
he arrested? Why is he arrested?
That's a police matter.
Oh, it's my matter too. I'm with him.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
You'll have to talk to the police?
Okay.
They're forcing me to tell them.
Can I ask why this gentleman's being arrested so I can write this in the paper?
Yes, ma'am.
And your badge number is? 87.
Can you just hold on to something?
09. Okay.
What is the charge?
Was he being charged with? What him handcuffed? Make sure.
Can we get you all back here? Just a little bit.
Hold on to this.
It's a free state. I'm not crazy. I'm standing right there. That's fine. I can sit right here. I'm not an ass. There's badge number. I just watch and see what's happening. I don't have to tell you that. Standing up this way. Against the wall.
Rudy?
There's no freedom of speech in America anymore.
Does he have his personal?
I entered the event. I paid over $200 to enter the event. I can't have freedom of speech. I have to shut up for the police.
You're just detained, right? You're not under
I'm
arrest?
detained. I'm not arrested at this time, according to the police. I paid over $200 to enter the event. I'm peacefully passing out flyers. I asked people if they wanted a flyer before I passed it out. A lady came up and told me not to pass out flyers. I told them I have a constitutional right to pass out flyers if people will accept them. She tried to take away all of my flyers, and then she called the police to come arrest me, like the police state that we live in today. Lieutenant Commander Terry Lakin, Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin, is being court-martialed for asking for Obama's presidential eligibility requirements, including his long-form birth certificate. The mainstream media will not touch him because he is in an interracial marriage, and they cannot claim that he is racist. So Obama's jackbooted thugs all throughout the country are trying to cover for him and are trying to stop his Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin's message from getting out to the public. If people over America don't stand up for the truth and stand up for the Constitution and stand up for freedom, we're going to lose our right to speak out.
You're absolutely right, sir.
So how long are you detained for?
I have no idea.
Okay, I haven't even watched that clip. You just saw it, so I haven't watched it in years. That was back in 2010, so that was 7 years ago. But the points that I remember from it was they didn't want to hear about Terry Lakin. Talking about Obama's birth certificate made you a racist. You were an anathema to the Tea Party Republican crowd. Nobody wanted to hear it. And you saw that they put me in handcuffs, right? And I paid money to get in there. I didn't break down any doors. I didn't sneak in. I paid the money to get in, right? And so these people that ran the Republican Party, I consider them traitors, and they didn't want to hear the truth. Well, you speed the clock up. I think that was in November. I believe it was in December of 2010. My friend, the Texas deacon, and I went to Terry Lakin's court-martial in Fort Meade, Maryland. It was cold. We got to meet Terry Lakin. We got to see the proceedings. I remember there being a lady. They were doing voir dire. You guys might remember that. Voir dire is a fancy word for when they do jury selection. But they were interviewing a potential juror, and they asked her, have you heard of Terry Lakin before? And she said, yes. And she said, where did you hear of him? I saw him on the news. And they said, what did you think about the news report? And what was your, position on what you heard about Terry Lakin? And she said, I follow orders. I'll never forget her saying that. And she got on the jury, right? But definitely the prosecution team wanted her on the jury. And, it's like this mindset of, I follow orders. I don't care what the orders are. And I understand in the military, you know, my friend, the Texas Deacon, was in the 82nd Airborne. My dad was a Marine in the Korean War. My brother is a Marine. So I have family and friends that are in the military, and I understand and I can comprehend the importance of following orders. But I tell you what, if you know that your commander-in-chief has put out forged documents, if you know that he's lying to the American people about his eligibility, and you know that he's purposely destroying the country, then you have a right, and not only that, but you have a duty to God to be obedient to your conscience, right? And not and to say something about it. And Terry tried for 2 years to go through the proper channels. And just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, if you can put yourself back in that time with Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar is saying, I want everybody to bow down to this golden image. When you hear this, you know, the sackbut and the harp and the psaltery and all this music, and everybody around you bowing down, right? And when you don't bow down, they're yelling at you, bow down, bow down. You're going to get us in trouble. You're going to make the king mad. Just bow down. But Terry didn't bow down. He, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, he stood up and he said, I for 2 years have tried to get to the answer to this, and they're not giving me the answer. I'm going to invite my own court-martial. And he stood up as a lieutenant colonel in the army. Anybody who knows Terry Lakin and has spoken to him, that has eyes to see and ears to hear, knows that he's a man of integrity. That he's not out as a showboater. He's not a rebellious man. He's not out to make a name for himself on this issue. That he had a conscience, and he had integrity, and he wanted to do what was right for his country. And that is a rare man. And so what I'm asking for you to do is to sign the petition. And you say, well, I don't want to ask Donald Trump for nothing. I don't like Donald Trump. I don't like him either. But even Moses asked Pharaoh. Even Moses went to Pharaoh, right, and asked and told Pharaoh what was going to happen. And many times throughout the course of the Bible, the leaders of the day changed their course of action because they feared the people, right? And so I'm going to try to help and do everything I can to help raise 100,000 signatures. Let me say this. When I went to that trial, there were so many highlights that I met a lot of good people. Before I went, I talked to a man by the name of Marco Cavallino. He is a workhorse for Terry Lakin. I believe that he started the website, terrylakin.com. He started this petition drive, if I'm not mistaken. I've met Leonard, who's a good friend up in New York and a good supporter of Pastor James David Manning. Pastor James David Manning came to the trial. I met a man by the name of Commander Kirshner, who I believe served in the Navy. He put together a website called protectourliberty.org that talks about 2 American citizen parents. He's researched every single American president that's ever existed. He's done mega research on this issue and devoted a lot of his time. That courtroom was full of godly, righteous people who wanted to do what's right for our country and recognized Terry Lakin as almost a modern-day George Washington, who was standing up and doing what's right. And so, you know, I appreciate what Terry has done. I think that he should be reinstated to his full military position. His pension should be reinstated, and he should be given a full pardon because all he did was do the right thing. Sheriff Arpaio has already came out and proven beyond any doubt that that birth certificate is a forgery. Okay? That nobody's even arguing that anymore. The people that used to argue it, they don't say that it's not a forgery anymore. What they say nowadays is it doesn't matter because he's not in office. But back in the day when Obama was in office, they would argue that it's not a forgery. But it's so proven up one side and down the other that it's a forgery now by Sheriff Arpaio and the cold case posse team, Mike Zullo, that nobody even argues that it's not a forgery. It's a forgery. Obama put out a forged document. Terry Lakin went to Fort Leavenworth Prison and lost his military career. You know, my understanding was he was on the verge of becoming a full-blown colonel in the Army. And so I would hope that you would sign this petition. If this particular petition goes away, I would hope that Marco or whoever is driving this particular effort would start a new one, and we just keep trying. Share this with all your friends. I don't normally make videos and ask people to do things, but in the special case of Terry Lakin, this man right here, who wrote that book right there, you see, guys, hopefully you guys see his picture. I make a special case because I believe in this man. I believe he's a man of integrity and honor. And I certainly will sign the petition. My wife will sign the petition, and I encourage you to sign the petition. If we can get 100,000 signatures, my understanding is the White House has to respond. Wouldn't it be great if we actually saw Donald Trump produce some fruit and pardon Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin? That would send a message. That would send out a message. And if you're not pushing to sign this petition, I got to ask, what's your problem? You know, why wouldn't you want to sign this petition and see Terry Lakin reinstated to the military? A man of character, a man of honor, a man of bravery. He's already been to active combat. I would say we should sign this petition, and we should do what's right. I would ask you in closing to read Daniel 3:17 and 18. I often read this because I consider it very encouraging, but this is what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said to Nebuchadnezzar when they were told to bow down and they were being threatened with thrown in the fiery furnace. All of their friends were telling them to bow down. You know that everybody surrounding them was just, waddling in fear because they weren't bowing down. And you know the king's men and all the military men were like looking around to see who's not bowing down. You know, it's just like when Hitler came through town. Are you going to give it the old "Hi Hitler"? You going to do that? Or are you going to say, I ain't doing that. I ain't going to do that just because everybody else is. Terry Lakin took a stand. And what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said in Daniel 3:17 encourages me. I hope it will encourage you. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. And he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But I love this next phrase. Don't miss this next phrase that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said. But if not, it's like even if our Lord decides not to deliver us and we end up burning in the fiery furnace, even if we burn to death, listen to what we're going to tell you, king. Be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Man, that's some powerful words from some men who were facing a fiery death. And Terry Lakin's already gone through that. He's already taken a stand against overwhelming opposition. He went to Fort Leavenworth prison. He's already been thrown in the furnace. All we got to do is sign a petition and support him and ask that he be pardoned. That's all we got to do. Can you muster that much energy? I'm going to put the link in the information bar. I pray that you do sign the petition and pass it out to your friends. Thank you for your time.